I want my son to be an avid reader. The more you read, the more you can see the world through the books. The books open up your mind so you can see things differently. Because at one day, you're not going to be an athlete. But what you've done to your mind and trained your mind to do, that'll stick with you for a lifetime. The education is so important. The same energy that you put into taking your son to practice should be the same energy you should be taking him to go to the library, or making sure that he's reading, making sure that he's getting his rest and eating properly. For a parent that has an athlete, that's an elite athlete, be knowledgeable. Seek the knowledge. Don't just take information at face value. Check, do the fact checks, find out who people are, because your child is your biggest investment. So you need to make sure that you do the investment also to make sure that you're putting the right people around your son. Because what happens is when your son's an elite athlete, everyone will want to be around, but everyone won't be the right person. So as a parent, you have a dual responsibility. You have to train your child to be ready to be a citizen of this world, but then you also have to protect your child to make sure that they're only dealing with people who have their best interests at heart. I kept the first original licenses that they gave to me from the NFL and the NBA on the wall, and this is the FIBA's letter of clearance from the International Basketball Association.
Yes,
I'm licensed in Alabama, Wisconsin, Tennessee, North Carolina, of course Maryland. You have to be licensed, and California. And so all of them couldn't fit up on the wall, but I wanted to make sure that I put them up on it. The law diploma, man, from University of Baltimore, my pilot diploma, and of course, the Morgan State University. Man, I love Morgan, man. Fair Morgan, baby, that's it.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Great wall of accomplishments.
I got to shout my brother Greg out. My brother Greg made the EAC logo.
Okay,
that's all in the family, man. So Greg made that logo. He designed it. You got the light of Christ shining through the logo. That's why you see the light behind the seat and everything.
Indeed.
But that's very important to know. He made that. And of course, EAC is actually trademarked with the United States of America through the Trademark Association. So no one else can use that logo but us. And so big accomplishment, because that's a very, very hard thing to do. But thank God we were able to get that logo trademarked, because I told my brother, when we get all the way to the top is when people are going to see your greatness and how much artistry that you have in your hand in creating that logo. And so these two certificates on the wall are certificates of completion of my discipleship ministry training at my church, because if I'm going to be a fisher of men, I need to be properly trained. And so at New Psalmist, we go to school for 3 years to become disciples of his word. And I was able to finish that program at New Psalmist right during the pandemic, because if you see the date, it says April the 8th, 2020. I was right in the heart of the pandemic. Was able to finish that program and it's like going to college. So it's just like another degree, but it's way more than just a degree, of course. I don't want to knock that down. You got to show that. Go Bears, baby. Go Bears. Yes. Go Bears. Absolutely. So some of the things you see on the shelf, I've actually made these while I was at Poly. You have a gavel, an anvil, a cup. I made those while I was at Poly, and I was able to keep those over the years, which is a great thing. Okay, look, so this picture is from the 102nd Poly City game in Memorial Stadium on 33rd Street in East Baltimore, not too far from my home off of Greenmount Avenue. We beat City 27-0. If you take a look at the scoreboard, the score was 19-0. Had already scored 2 touchdowns in this game already. Wow. And they caught me in this photo right here. City ran their entire defense at the line of scrimmage trying to stop me from doing the things that I was doing to them in this game. And so right after this, pretty much after this play, coach pulled me out of the game, and then I didn't play anymore in this game. But this was in the third quarter, and we was up. We was up a lot, man.
Wow.
What was the score?
The end score was 27-0 Poly in this game. That's right. Right now, this was 19. I had already scored 2 touchdowns in this game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Well, City, I'm sorry.
So Remember the Titans is a football themed movie, but Denzel Washington is one of my favorite people because of his character and his faith and his integrity. When you see him in a movie, it's very believable because he has mastered his craft. You see, right, number 42, that's a groundbreaking, you know what I'm saying? Right. Jackie Robinson, baseball background. And then of course, you got He Got Game, another Denzel Washington
my
production.
God. Yeah.
However, that movie parallels so much of what young men go through when they're chasing their dream to become an NBA player.
The last question.
And so that movie has a lot of relationship to what I do as an agent. Chu Smith had a camp, right?
Because you know, people use kids, people abuse kids. And I just wanted you to understand, dude, I'm here for you.
Right.
And I love you.
Yeah.
And if we gotta go to blows, we'll fight, and then I'm gonna love you more.
You said that.
And so he invited me to the camp to come speak to the kids. And the Baltimore Times was there, and right in the daggone. I said, look at this, man. This is, yeah, boy.
What year was this?
This was in 2022. See? March 2022.
Oh my God.
Made the front page of the news. I walked into a store that had the Baltimore Times. I'm saying, that guy look familiar. Oh, that's me. Man, how does it feel when you look at the TV and you see yourself on the TV like that? How does that feel? Because I never get used to that. Like that is one of those things that when you look at yourself, you're like, wow, that's me on TV, man, doing all this? Yeah.
Well, I tell you, Frank, I'm like an introvert. I'm very shy. And God put me around people like Andre and my music producers and they pushed me, and my pastor. I didn't even want to be on social media. I was just like, no, I don't want to be on social media. I don't want to hear nothing about no negative or anything. I can do my work without being seen. And my pastor's like, no, you gotta go. My son and daughter said, Dad, we tired of people looking for you trying to get a haircut because I don't do no walk-ins. They said, you gotta put yourself out there. And Andre was like, man, look, you don't worry about what people think. He said, you have a gift. And God said, you have to take that lamp off of that lampshade. Mm-hmm. And you got to let your light shine because you're being selfish now.
Wow.
And he said, then you're going to come to find out that there's going to be more for you on social media, YouTube, that are those that are against you. And it's funny. It's like the people you be thinking that against you, them the people that be really for you.
Nah, they be for you, man. Because real
Right.
recognize real. If
Yeah.
you're telling some real stuff and your interviews are real, like, and you do your homework, that is real. Because my thing is, as hard as I had to work, I don't want to sit down with somebody and just talk about some fluffy things.
Right.
No, ask me some questions that make me have to really think about how I'm going to respond to that question.
Absolutely.
That's how I know that this interview was definitely needed. But I appreciate it because the more you tell the story, the more people hear the story.
Right.
And so it's very important that the story is being told. And
Yes.
I appreciate you guys. I appreciate for cutting it up, coming
Oh
into
my
the
God,
Johnson
we
household
thank you so
today
much
and just
for
letting
inviting
us.
me here, my humble self. And just seeing you on that picture with Chu basketball camp, you know, and it's just funny how God have us divinely connected together before we met each other. God does things in times and increments and seasons. He said, a lot of people say that I don't have no new friends. I don't want to meet nobody new. Be like, we have people that are really our friends and connections that we have not even met yet. But God's timing is always a perfect timing.
Because like in Baltimore, there are a lot of kids that don't know who I am. And when I meet them, they're always surprised that I didn't know you did that. And I say, okay, that means the story needs to be told more. That's fine.
Take that lampshade off and let that light shine.
Absolutely. I can't even explain how good God is. And so I didn't know this, but one of my idols, Hank Aaron, actually broke the home run record the month and the year that I was born. And so
Look at
that had to make the wall. Of course, I've always been an activist at heart. And so this is when the athletes went and talked about the issues that they were facing as athletes and African-American men. And of course, you got Jim Brown, Muhammad Ali, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bobby Mitchell, all those guys. And of course, the man, the myth, and the legend of Baltimore's football, of course, Ray
Absolutely.
Lewis. And so I only put people on the wall that I can identify with that have done great things and stand for more than just the sport that they play in or whatever area they are in their life. But of course, if you can kneel before God, you can stand before anyone. And this is Martin Luther King, definitely one of my favorite icons. Martin Luther King, Ralph Abernathy, they praying before they take the walk down to Selma. But that is a major, major photo, and I always wanted that photo on my wall.
Yes.
And so this wall right here is more so like of a gallery wall. And so it's the Royal Theater on Pennsylvania Avenue, all the iconic places in Baltimore. The aquarium is a place that's close and near and dear to my heart. This is a place that basically brought my daughter to her dream of being a marine biologist.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why this is on the wall.
Significant.
Greenmount Avenue, Greenmount Avenue. This is the Boulevard Theater. The Boulevard Theater on Greenmount Avenue. One of the first places we ever went to the movies. But this is where I grew up at in East Baltimore in the Boulevard Theater. You take a look at this photo right here. I did not know that I was going to speak in front of my entire church at New Psalmist Baptist Church.
Wow.
But my pastor, Bishop Walter Scott Thomas, had been hearing about the work that I was doing at Elite Athletes for Christ. And he asked me to come speak to the young people about goals and dreams. And they caught this photo. I was like, it has to go on the wall. Then of course, last but not least, this is during the uprising, Freddie Gray. And so this picture made CNN. People thought we were protecting the police. We weren't. We were in protest of the police that had the brutality against the people. The police kept moving forward, getting closer and closer to the protesters. These are all black men that are fathers of sons and daughters in Baltimore City. We formed a protest line and turned our backs to the police to let them know we weren't in agreement with their decision making and how they were handling things. But we wanted the protesters to have a barrier of peace. And this entire day, not one thing happened on North and Pennsylvania Avenue.
Look at that, man of God.
I love Baltimore, man, and I love everything about this city. And sometimes we get a bad rap about who they think we are. But it's hardworking men who did not want their city to be destroyed by angry people because one of the kids in Baltimore was killed by the Baltimore City Police. And so that's why we turned our backs to the police officers to let them know we do not agree with you. But you're not gonna interrupt these people from protesting because they have a right to protest. That's their right. And so we did this line, and this line formed all the way across North Avenue at North and Pennsylvania. It was probably like about 100 men from one corner to the other with their back to the police. And it stopped the police officers because the police officers were gonna actually break up the protest and send the people home. Right. And that wouldn't have been right. And so we formed that line. And they stood behind us the entire time. And the protesters never approached the line and the police officers never came forward. It was a beautiful thing to see.
Baltimore is not with certain news channels and certain people project us to be. We are very highly men of worship, men who love God, and men who love our families, men who love our wives, and men who love our city and where we from. And we'll go anywhere, anytime to make a change. Well, people, y'all heard it here first, here on Cutting It Up from Frank Johnson III. And it reminds me of a story in the Bible, you know, and when they were speaking in John, I believe it was chapter 1, when they say, can any good thing come out of Nazareth? And they was talking about Christ. They're like, man, nothing good can come out of Nazareth. It's just like I look at your story. Can any good thing come out of East Baltimore? Yes. And y'all witnessing it right here. President, CEO of his own company, the first African American sports agents in Baltimore City. In the NFL, the NBA, and FIBA, the Federation of International Basketball Association, everyone. So I just want y'all to give it up. And I thank y'all for tuning in with me here on Cutting It Up, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much, Mr. Frank.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Vernon.